I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. I have with me one of our school counselors who is the senior counselor, Ms. Kelly McMullen, and she'll be performing a section of this meeting today. So I'd like to welcome everyone. I think we're at 30 right now, or just under 30. And as people come in, we'll fill them in. So first and foremost, congratulations to our senior class. You are in the home stretch of your high school experience. Enjoy it as much as you can.
Dylan, mute your TV.
Enjoy it as much as you can, because when this is over, there are going to be some aspects of adult life that is headed your way. And I always love it when kids get a taste of that and things change a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about right now, and also about 7 or 8 months from now. There'll be some notices, and some of them have already gone out to some of our senior class members who have failed a course. What that means is, especially if it was a core course, is that you're going to have to go to something called credit recovery. It is what we typically do in the summer, but because we have an inordinate amount of seniors who failed a course last semester, that we're going to start credit recovery next month. And it is up to you. And I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people don't know this. You can go to college without having graduated from high school. The only twist to that is you are ineligible for federal student financial aid, which means that all of the tuition and room and board and the meals and the fees and the books and transportation and everything else that comes with it, because there's always extra stuff, will have to come out of your pocket. So if you're in a situation where you are seeking college admission, which we're also going to talk about a little bit later tonight, and you don't have a diploma, it's going to be really tough. But not impossible, because a lot of students will go to a community college, which is something affordable that they can pay for out of their pocket until they can get this high school diploma situation straightened out. Now, I don't recommend that for any of our students. What I'm recommending for our students is that if you have been selected for credit recovery, you must pass those classes. In addition to that, those of you who are under a 2.0 GPA, and there are 9 of you, that needs to come up to a 2.0. I don't want anybody in a situation where they are staring down the actual possibility of not graduating from high school. Surviving in this world without that is incredibly hard. This is where I see dreams go up in smoke, in many cases unnecessarily. Now, the school has come up with some things to help you. Most of you know about Workday Wednesday. That didn't happen today because of the King holiday, but next week we will return to that. Parents, if you are unaware of this, every Wednesday, your student can meet with their teachers during the school day, but it is somewhat optional unless a teacher demands it. Which means that potentially they have the whole day to get their work done. Work not being turned in That is the number one reason why we had students fail. So if your son or daughter is a senior, I would check in with them every week. Hey, is all your homework in? Did you complete all your assignments this week? If not, let's get that done on Wednesday or tonight or this weekend, whenever your parent says you need to get that done. Because when graduation comes in June and you're not on that list, you're not on the list. And you'll stay home that day. I don't want that to happen to anyone. So first and foremost, get your work in. I cannot stress that enough. Number two, we have been monitoring the vaccine rollout. And I have to admit, so far, it's going pretty slow, as some of you may know as well. Well, Trinity right now is preparing that we're going to be in the same mode that we're in now over the summer. But what that also means is the implication that might have on college choice. Now, right now, back in August and now, a bunch of kids who graduated high school last year opted to go to a 4-year college, paying the exact same rate as they would if everything was normal. Many college students right now are going to school at home. Some colleges are a little bit more daring. They left their dorms open. So the kids are going to class in their dorm rooms via e-learning, but paying the exact same rate as they would if everything was the same, back to normal. And in some cases, we're talking about $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year for their education. Now in the past, and I'm no different from this, many students paid a lot of money to go to school, not just for their education, but also for their experience. The parties, the concerts, the friendships that they were going to build, the community on campus. Well, right now, that's not happening. It's not. And so we did see some kids, and maybe last minute, deferred their admission and went to a community college and paid something like $89 a credit hour instead of $450 a credit hour. For all students and parents, I implore with you to give that some thought. Because if the vaccine continues to roll out slowly, fall semester will look like this semester. But do we pay the $40,000 or the $30,000 or whatever it is if that's where we're at? I would give that a lot of thought. Now, there's some things that have to happen between now and the first day of school in August. Many of you have already completed some of those things. Some of the students have come by my office. Hey, Dr. Payton, I got accepted to Illinois State. I had a parent tell me today, student got accepted to Arkansas Pine Bluff, an HBCU in Arkansas. That's great. And if that's you and you still expect some acceptances to come in, awesome, congratulations. It's gonna be the most enjoyable time of your life. I guarantee it. Others of you, no acceptances yet, no applications have gone out yet. That's okay, but we need to get on the ball. And you know who you are. So I want to introduce our school counselor who works with our sophomores, but also with our seniors. And I'm going to give her the floor to talk a little bit about the college admission process, specifically for those of you who have either not started or are waiting or who wish to continue applying to schools. And we'll talk about financial aid and some other things before we close. Kelly McMullen.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's had a good day. I'm Kelly McMullen. I've talked to most of you, but for those of you who don't know me, I'm the senior counselor. So I'll keep it pretty brief so that we have time for questions later. I'll give a quick overview of the college process that I've gone over with all of the seniors so far. I'll go over some information on financial aid, and then we can get to questions. I know this year has been really hectic with e-learning, COVID, trying to apply to colleges and scholarships on top of everything else that the seniors need to do. The college process is confusing, has a lot of moving parts to it. So I've let all of the seniors know I am available to help them with whatever they need in terms of college. But with that being said, this is also one of the first times where the students really get to step up and take charge of their own future. I've said to all of them that college is for them. It's not for me, it's not for teachers or anyone else. They get to take that first step into adulthood and really decide what they want to do after high school. I've stressed it to the seniors and a lot of the parents as well that the seniors really need to be checking their emails daily. It is an extremely important skill to have, especially once they leave high school. Emails will be the main form of communication at college, in future jobs. So it's especially true because of e-learning and COVID. That's how I send out all my communication to these seniors. I send out every day scholarship opportunities, college information, important deadlines. So it's very important that they're reading these. So I'll go over the college application process so far. We started the college process in September. I met with all of the students individually to go over what majors they're interested in, what colleges they're thinking about, gave them some forms that they need to complete, and showed them how to add schools and Naviance. And then in October, we had a senior college presentation where we went over everything that they need to know for their college application process, scholarship information, different workshops that we had, and they were able to ask questions. And then we had a virtual college fair where students were able to meet with different college reps and ask questions about the schools. At this point in the school year, about 75% of the seniors have applied to colleges. There's still some seniors who haven't applied to any. All of them have received emails from me letting them know that they need to start the process. And as Dr. Payton said, not everyone is interested in going to a four-year school, and that's totally okay. There's other options. Community college is a great option if students want to save money, or even if they're not sure what major that they want to be in. It kind of gives them some time to figure it out without spending a lot of money. Trade schools are also a great option. If your student is interested in trade schools, please have them let me know. I can send out information on those as well. Whichever type of schools your students want to apply to is great, but they need to begin the process now if they have not already. I'm more than happy to meet with any of the students who still have questions or want more help with the process. And I can also meet with any parents that want to talk about the college process as well. Please reach out to me, and then I'll put my contact information really quick in the chat so that you have it. There's my email, and then my extension, if you call the main office, is 3034. So everyone can have that. So I've been going through each student's Naviance profile, and for the parents who don't know what Naviance is, that's how I send all colleges information. So their students' transcript, any letters of recommendation that teachers have written for them, and different counselor documents that I sent to them as well. Most of the seniors and parents have received emails from me this week letting them know where your student is at in the application process or if they're missing anything. If you have not already received an email from me, you will be getting one before the end of the week. So please be on the lookout in your emails. I'm basically just gonna let you know what your student still needs to do and offer any help or information that you need from me. So with that being said, I want to share my screen really quick. So I'm gonna go over financial aid information. This information was all given to the seniors during the college presentation back in October. This is gonna just be a little refresher for the students that are on the call, and then parents, in the emails I'm sending you, I'm also including the PowerPoint. So you'll have all the senior college presentation information. So let me figure out how to share my screen really quick. Can you see the financial aid process slide? Dr. Payton? Yeah, okay. Okay, so the FAFSA, for those of you that don't know, is the free application for federal student aid. It determines eligibility for federal and state need-based assistance. So this is loans, grants, and work study. All seniors should have applied for the FAFSA by now. I input all their names into the FAFSA database, and once they update that, I'll get an email with which students have applied and which students still need to apply. So I can let your student know and you if they have not applied already. But this is really important that they do apply now if they haven't, because the sooner that you apply, the better chance that you have at receiving more money from the state of Illinois. So there's different types of financial aid, and you'll get this after you apply for the FAFSA. There's grants. This is need-based aid that does not have to be repaid. There's scholarships, which is gift aid that can be used or based on academic achievements, athletic accomplishments, different talents that the student may have, ethnic background, etc. I've sent out a ton of different scholarship opportunities to the seniors this year. So if they haven't applied to any, have them search their emails for my name and apply to the ones that I've sent that they qualify for that haven't passed the deadline yet. And then work study. So this, if the student qualifies for it, it allows the students with need to earn money through a job on campus, and then they can use that money that they earn to pay for educational expenses. And then loans, and they can be subsidized or unsubsidized. This is borrowed money that must be repaid with interest. So eligibility for loans is determined once the student submits their FAFSA. If your student ends up qualifying for subsidized loans, they will pay less overtime than you would with unsubsidized loans. And this is because the interest on subsidized loans is paid by the government while the student is enrolled at least half time during college. So interest typically doesn't start to accrue until 6 months after the student graduates. With unsubsidized loans, interest begins to accrue as the loan is dispersed to the student. So this includes while the student is enrolled in school. The next type is private loans. So you want to borrow federal loans first. Private loans often have much higher interest rates and require a cosigner if the student has no credit history. Both unsubsidized and subsidized federal loans also offer more repayment plans and forgiveness options than private loans. So you only really want to consider private loans if you need to fill a payment gap to meet the college costs. You want to compare all private loan options, including their interest rates, as well as repayment options before you borrow. And then after submitting your FAFSA, you'll get a report detailing how much federal aid you're entitled to. Be sure to first take all the grants and scholarships you're offered in the report since it's free money. You'll also want to accept any work study you're offered before you take on loans. And then each year you're enrolled in school, your specific school will determine the amount you can borrow, as well as the loan types you qualify for, which would be subsidized or unsubsidized. And then one great resource that Holy Trinity has is our partnership with Isac. So we work with an amazing rep named Maggie West, who basically knows everything that there is to know about the FAFSA. Her contact information will be on a slide on the screen if you want to take a picture of it when I scroll down to it. But I'm also going to send you her email in the emails that I send to all the parents. She can walk you through the entire FAFSA application. She can help you input all of your tax information in. Whatever you need, any questions, she can help you with. She has office hours every Wednesday, which the seniors have been emailed about, and you can schedule meetings with her anytime between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. on those Wednesdays. So when you do go into the FAFSA, this is a quick overview. You'll first create an FSA ID. Both the parent and the student need to create their own FSA ID, and that will be like your signature to access the FAFSA. So we did have a FAFSA workshop earlier this year, but for this year's seniors, you'll need financial information from 2019 when you complete your FAFSA. So you'll need your social security card. If you are an undocumented student or don't have a social security number, you can reach out to Maggie West as well. Everything that you talk with her about is confidential. If you're not comfortable with that, you can also reach out to me, and anything that we talk about is confidential. But then you'll also need to bring your driver's license if you have one, and your parent or guardian's 2019 federal income tax return. And then here is Maggie West's contact information. So if anyone wants to take a picture of that really quick, or you'll get it in an email from me this week. I'll wait a couple seconds. All right. And then also in the college presentation that you guys are going to get in your emails, on one of the pages, or two of the pages actually, it has different scholarship search engines. So students will want to search for different scholarships that they qualify for. They can search for ones that I haven't sent out to them, but I've also sent out a bunch, so they can apply to those too. And then if they want to go to a specific school, another thing that I recommend is to go on that specific school's website, and they might have school specific scholarships available that your student can apply to. So then you'll see all of those when I send you the PowerPoint. And then let me stop sharing my screen. Okay. So as the students begin receiving college decisions, which a lot of them have already, you'll need to let me know, and you'll need to send me all acceptance letters and financial aid packages that you receive from each school. All students will be scheduled to have individual meetings with me towards the end of March / the beginning of April, where I will go over all of their financial information that they've gotten from each school and their different college options. They don't need to make any final decision for college yet. They have until May 1st to do that. And then we will have a college signing day for the seniors on Friday, April 30th. More information will be sent out when we finalize details on that. And that's all I really have. So I'll wrap my part up. And then if anyone has questions, feel free to ask away.
Before we get to questions, I got two other points I want to make, and then we'll get to some questions. Feel free to ask your question in the chat box if you want to just go ahead and ask it now, and we'll get to it a little bit sooner. The first thing I wanted to talk about was scholarships. We have been sending scholarships home via email to all of the seniors since August. Well, let me tell you what happens. I've been in education 19 years. Let me tell you what happens every one of those 19 years without fail. High school students will begin getting those scholarship offers, applications, opportunities, and they don't fill them out. They will come back in May or June or July. Dr. Payton, I need some money for school. There's about $4,000 that my family doesn't have. Are there any scholarships available? Not in June, not in July. Scholarships work 1 year in advance. So you want money for your freshman year of college, you gotta do the work your senior year of high school, and therefore, and so on. That used to be a job I had when I worked in the colleges. The easiest part of my job was to find the money. I loved it, enjoyed it, did it well. Hardest part about my job is getting a student to sit down and actually do the application and then turn it in. Now, unless we got 40 millionaires on this call, I would suggest that you sit down with your student this week, ask them about the money. What have they done? What have they earned? What have they sent in? Or you're gonna catch that bill. Somebody's gonna have to come up with that money from your family. And somebody's gonna take out an extra loan. It every year never fails. And that continues when your son or daughter goes to college, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. That should always be happening. Prime time, scholarship time, October to April. We in late January. Some scholarship deadlines have already passed. Those of you who have the biggest advantages, those of you who already know where your son or daughter is going to college, because you can apply for internal scholarships, scholarships that are only available to that college's students. If you already got your mind made up and you know where you're going, great, start filling them out. If you don't, I want to think about that. And that leads me to my next point. A parent came in my office last year and said, Dr. Payton,
I can't turn up any louder. I can't put it on speaker.
I want my child to go away to school because I didn't. And that was their only reason. I asked about the child. Child doesn't come in on time for curfew, doesn't wake up on time for school. Child's had some behavior problems in school. Child got arrested once for a petty crime. When you send your child away to school, there is nothing to mitigate that. They're on their own. And you can buy the most expensive alarm clock money can buy. Doesn't matter. Because they have to get themselves up for school. They have to be responsible for everything when they're in school, not to mention their classes. If you have prepared them well, they come in when they're supposed to. They don't give you any problems. There are no issues in the high school. They don't get arrested. They're not hanging around the wrong crowd. They're not smoking weed. They're not doing the things that typically every year young kids come home, most notably Black and brown kids coming home to school because they got kicked out. Or because the grades were so low, the parents just decided, you know what, I'm not spending $30,000 next year for D's and F's. Going away to college even if it's 90 minutes away, that is a privilege. A privilege. If for no other reason, because the costs have gotten so high. So make sure your son or daughter knows that they are responsible, that they are mature, they are ready to be by themselves, to make right decisions. There's an exam on Monday, 10 a.m. There's a party Saturday and another gathering on Sunday. Do they know what to do in that scenario? Now, I took out $95,000 in student loans throughout my education. I will finish paying that off in September of the year 2037. I will have been paying loans for the majority of my adult life. There are scenarios where your student loan payment will follow you in death. Please know, please understand. And I pay that bill before I buy one bag of groceries or put one drip of gas in my car, and it hurts every month. If you don't want your child to feel that, and maybe some of us as parents in here are paying that same bill, then in the next 8 to 9 months, the choices that you're about to make them good. Because that bill never goes away until it's paid. We are open for questions.
So there's one in the chat. We have a couple of colleges which are in Naviance and documentation has been sent, but the colleges are emailing us for school records. So this happens a lot. As long as it's in Naviance, everything on my end at least has been sent to the school. Sometimes, colleges are getting lots of applications. So sometimes they'll be sending out emails that they're missing things until they get it in the file. My recommendation is if you are getting those emails or calls, reach out to that specific school's admissions department and let them know that everything was sent through Naviance. And then you can also check with me before you reach out to the admissions, and I can let you know exactly which day it was sent so that you can make sure that they put everything in your student's file. And that's another thing that I want to stress because I've had a lot of students forget to add their schools that they're applying to Naviance. So that's the only way, unless they specifically tell me, that I know which schools they apply to. And at midnight every night, I get an email from Naviance with any colleges that have been added by any student. So it's really important that they add all schools they apply to Naviance.
Other questions?
Okay, so there's another question. What part of the college process is required for high school graduation? Filling out the FAFSA and Naviance. So all students should be applying to 3 schools, whether that's a community college, a trade school. If they don't want to apply to school for whatever reason, they have a plan for after high school, involving a job or anything like that, they need to meet with me and we need to talk and make sure that they do have a plan. And I want to know what the plan is. So they should be applying to 3 schools though. And the
You know,
oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. There was a time where if a child was not applying to college right after high school, they were looked down upon. I think our society is changing on that. And if for no other reason, it could be because everybody ain't ready and got it all together by 18. They just don't. Some kids need another year. Some kids need 2 years. And perhaps they got to go get that job at Walmart, work hard for 2 years to understand the real value of an education and what it can do for them. To really begin the process of thinking, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? It's not just going to fall out the sky and smack them in the face. They're going to have to go search, discover, look inward, talk to people who are doing things that interest them. And that also includes our students who have artistic talents, who can draw, who can paint, who can act, who can dance, who can write. Without those people, none of us would have nothing to do on the weekends. And if you look at salaries, those who are really good at those things are the highest earners in our nation, outside of your hedge fund managers and people like that. So if you got a talented child, cultivate it.
And I just want to make sure that if your student doesn't want to go to college right after high school, that they do have a plan so that it doesn't, get to June and they're just laying on the couch doing nothing. So that's really the reason why we say apply to 3 schools. But I would like to meet with any student who doesn't want to apply to school as well.
Well, if there are no other questions, we can conclude. Wait, we have 2 questions just came in. Our first question is if there has been an update on sports for this semester. My second question would be about the future plan for the graduation ceremony for seniors. Excellent questions. For sports, we recently received for basketball a clearance to begin meeting and practicing again, but in a non-contact fashion. We were doing this in October. We have recently been cleared for that. But I want to be fully transparent on basketball. Basketball typically starts in October and goes through February. It's already late January. And at some point, somebody's going to have to say there's going to be a season or there ain't. And that could be anyone from the governor to the director of IHSA. Could even be me, at least for Holy Trinity. At present, we are in a holding pattern, but basketball players have been given clearance. I need to find the date, but it is this month, to begin non-contact practices. As far as graduation, last year, we felt like we might be able to have graduation as normal in the church because we were looking at the vaccine and the projections of how many people were going to be vaccinated by that time. The vaccine rollout has been slow. And let's face it, there's a lot of people in communities like mine that are scared to death to take the vaccine. What we all have to understand, though, is that without the vaccine, nothing changes. You're gonna be wearing a mask, you're gonna be socially distancing, a lot of businesses are gonna close. So it's like vaccine or bust. We will continue to monitor it. We should know something by April if we can have a graduation indoors, whether it be in a church or in some other truncated fashion. But we should know that by then. Will the students have prom? Prom is in the same boat as graduation. It is wait and see on the vaccine, how many people are going to take it, where we are here in Chicago. From Shatira, are there any scholarships for housing? Only for those who received full tuition scholarships, but housing and meal plans are not included. Actually, there are. It's called being a resident assistant. They're in almost every college. Now, the problem is most freshmen don't become that because you're just getting there and you don't know anything about housing because you're a new student. But for sophomores, juniors, and seniors, so this is really for 2 years from now, if you can become a resident assistant at your college, many colleges will waive the room and board fee, and you'll at least be able to stay in the dorm either free of charge or at a discounted rate. And that is a real good look. I was an RA my senior year, I didn't have to pay room and board.
I also can add to that. I've sent out there's different like essay competitions and other organizations that are giving out money for, I don't know, it really just depends for each one. But some of those aren't like money that they have to apply for tuition. They just get the money that they can then use for college in general. So if they enter in any of those types of competitions or anything like that, then they can use that for any housing and meal plan costs or books. That's another thing, books are going to be expensive too, so they can do that as well.
If you want an idea of how your students might doing with scholarships, I have all these $100 gift cards in my drawer right now. Amazon, Visa, and I sent out an essay contest to all of the students. I haven't gotten one. Those gift cards gonna stay in my drawer. The deadline is the 29th of this month. We'll see what happens. Students taking senior pictures. Right now, senior pictures are scheduled for February 25th and the 26th. Will we be having a senior retreat? Yes, all classes will be having a retreat. Freshman retreat is February 3rd. Sophomores are the 24th of February. Juniors is March 24th. Seniors, we were holding out for a retreat that we could have overnight, which is what we typically do. That retreat hangs in the balance with the vaccine and the virus. If things have not been controlled by then, the senior retreat will be on Wednesday, April 28th. It will be all day and into the night here at Holy Trinity. But it's a lot of good things that are planned with it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Repeat the date for senior pics. All pictures will be taken February 25th and the 26th. February 25th and the 26th. Question for Manny. So basically everything rides on vaccine rollout? Yeah, kind of. At present, Holy Trinity has not had one student or one teacher come down with the virus in the building. I'd like it to stay that way. Anybody else? All right. Well, we'd like to thank everyone for coming. We are under time. This meeting was scheduled for an hour. The prom is rolling with the graduation. So we're in wait and see mode for the prom. But again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. I'd like to thank my school counselor, Kelly McMullen, for giving an awesome presentation. If you have any questions for her, her information can be found on the school website and also in the chat box in this meeting. If not, feel free to just look at you can call me and I can give it to you myself. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. See you at graduation.
Thanks, everyone.